Connor, you were granted exceptional status about 2.5 years ago. Has the time flown by to this your draft year, or has it been a case of finally it's here?
A little bit of both, to be honest. I mean, looking back, I can't believe how fast it went, but then you also look back and realize, all my friends are now drafted to the NHL, and a lot of them signed, and, a couple of them will play there. So it's, time it's been, sometimes it's flying, sometimes, it's just standing still, but, I'm really happy it's finally here, and it's been a good couple of years, but, I'm really looking forward to, my draft year.
I know when you were 6 years old and you desperately wanted to play rep hockey, but they wouldn't let you do it, that your mom sat down with you and drew a sort of a staircase, and each step represented one game left in the house league that you were playing in, and that was sort of to get you through and realize that thing. You haven't had to do anything like that to get your draft year?
No, not a whole lot. Grown up a little bit since 6 years old, and the staircase is kind of not so much, but it's been a great couple of years, and I'm really, happy that it's finally here, and I have the opportunity to, prove myself to maybe be the first overall pick.
I interviewed you a year ago, and you were talking about your first year in the OHL. That I think you said you felt like a little rat because you were so thin and you weren't very strong compared to the older kids, and you noticed a big difference in your second year. You're now entering your third year. How much more stronger and faster do you feel this year than even last year?
I actually think that the jump from my second year to my third year has been even greater than my first to my second. I've put on a little bit of weight. I'm taller, and I feel really good. So it's certainly a little bit different. When I was 15 years old, about 5'10", 160, soaking wet. So it's been a good couple of years.
What's your exact height and weight right now?
Be about 6'1", we'll say 6'1", and about 190.
You've always been a notorious goal setter. You've always set really specific goals for yourself. What are your goals for this season?
I have a couple personal ones that I don't think you guys need to know about, but obviously one of them would be the first overall pick. Play in the World Junior team again, win a gold medal and an OHL championship. And then, maybe Memorial Cup. Those some pretty lofty goals, but I think the team we have in the area, it's very possible, and the group of talent there is in Canada, I think the gold medal is possible as well. So I don't see why this year can't be anything but special.
Do you think you'll look at the NHL standings more this year, or more precisely, maybe look at the bottom of the NHL standings more?
Maybe a little bit, but you just got to worry about yourself. They say you could be the first overall pick, but there's such a good draft class this year, and the list goes on and on. So you just gotta keep working and make sure you're staying at the top of your game. So
I saw some comments from you where you talked about when you're if someone's drafted number 1 overall, that you just go to the team that drafts you. And when you were drafted number 1 overall to Erie, a lot of people wondered, would you report to Erie? And that you had some pretty strong comments about that. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, it's pretty upsetting. You see it more at the OHL level, and I think it's just wrong, to be honest. It's you put yourself ahead of the game, and it can never be like that. Hockey is a pretty special game, and we're all lucky, to be able to play in it, and to put yourself ahead of the game and select where you're going to go. It's not fair. There's a draft for a reason, and the team picks the best available player, or the team that the player that suits them best. And for the player to say, I don't want to go there, and I only want to go there, it's not right.
This draft is being billed the Connor McDavid draft, or Connor McDavid versus Jack Eichel. When you hear that sort of stuff, what do you think about that?
It's pretty special. It's something that you grow up to put yourself in this situation. That's why you work hard and have a good couple of first years. It's all about putting yourself in a situation like this, and it's just it's got to stay the same. You got to keep working hard. You got to keep doing your stuff to stay at the top, or else someone's going to knock you off. So.
Do you take it as a personal thing in terms of a competition between you and Jack Eichel?
No, it's not personal. It's about going number 1. It's not about beating Jack Eichel or Noah Hannafin or Dylan Strome. It's being the number 1 overall pick.
Have you had any head-to-head history outside of last year's World Junior with Eichel? Because I know he's a late '96 birthday. You're '97, but you always played up. Did you guys play each other in minor hockey growing up?
I never really came across his name in minor hockey, but I think the first time I saw him play and played against him was at the U17 tournament. And we had an absolute shootout in the U17 tournament. And I think we went back and forth, and I think the final score was 4-4, and we ended up going to a shootout, and they won the game. So, but it kind of went back and forth. But you could tell right from there that he was a pretty special player.
You've seen him enough at World Juniors and U17 and that to probably give us a pretty good scouting report on him. What would Connor's scouting report on Jack Eichel be?
Yeah, he's a good skater. He's a powerful skater. He's a big guy. He can shoot the puck. He likes to shoot it. He loves his toe drag and all that. But he's a great player. I mean, he can score. He can pass. He's a big guy. So there's not a whole lot he can't do.
In some ways, you probably have more in common or more familiar with the guys that got drafted last year because those were the guys you played against in minor hockey all the way up.
Yeah, I could probably tell you, anything you need to know about last year's draft, but I couldn't tell you a whole lot about this year's draft. Except for the local guys and some of the higher end talents that everyone's been talking about. So I don't really know a whole lot of people, and the events like the CHL Top Prospects game would be a little different. Might be the loner outside looking in. I mean, I don't really know a whole lot of guys, so but I'm looking forward to it.
The pressure and expectation level is enormous in that, and I think you obviously cope with that and deal with it. And that, does it ever get to be a little bit much?
It can be a little bit much at the beginning of the year when all the pressures of the start of the year and all that stuff can kind of add up. But once you find your rhythm and you get into a groove and a routine, it kind of all goes away. And I'm pretty lucky to be up in Erie. I mean, there's not a whole lot that goes on media-wise, and so it's not too bad.
That's probably been a blessing, hasn't it? Playing in an American, I'm sure the Otters are big in Erie, but if you were in a Canadian city, I would imagine it would be ramped up that much more.
Yeah. Playing in Erie's been an absolute blessing, and you kind of get hidden a bit, but up there it's all about the Otters, and it's not about one player. They just love their team, and so it's great.
When the pressure builds, is there a particular way that you take refuge from that, or you diffuse the pressure?
There's a couple things I do that just are personal stuff, and you just kind of get back to the basics. You just work hard, practice. That's the main thing. When times get tough, you just gotta bear down and get back to the basics and do everything that got you there, and it'll all work out.
Pressure amps up even more because of the World Juniors. And this year, it's in Toronto, Montreal, which takes it to another level. And there's a New Year's Eve game, Canada, United States, McDavid, Eichel. I mean, it'll get even crazier than it's been, I would imagine, at any time in the last number of years for you.
Yeah, and it's a pretty big storyline, I guess. I don't know how they wrote that one, but it would if I'm fortunate enough to be able to play on Team Canada, and he's playing on the American team and all that stuff. I know it'll be a pretty crazy game, but the World Juniors being in Toronto, Montreal is a dream. If you're fortunate enough to be able to play on that, it'll be just crazy. When
you were a younger kid, I'm assuming you watched the World Juniors on TV, and do you have any specific memories from that, especially New Year's Eve games against the Americans?
Oh, of course. Every Boxing Day, watched the first game, and New Year's Eve. I mean, I watched them all, but I don't know, probably like a favorite memory would be obviously Everly's, 5 seconds left, and Gord Miller with the great call and all that stuff. But also, Tavares's hat trick, New Year's Eve hat trick. The Canadians got down pretty good, and he just kind of put him on his back and won the game for them. But that was a pretty special game for him.
How hard was it last year with the team not getting a medal and maybe the tournament not going the way you would have liked personally?
Yeah, obviously it wasn't a storybook ending to the world, your first World Juniors, but it was a good experience to be able to play at 16. It's just an honor to be able to put the jersey on, let alone make a difference. And not a lot of guys made a difference at 16. Obviously Crosby and Tavares did, a little bit. But for the team-wise, I don't really know what happened. Just we had all the talent in the world, but just never really came together. And I think that is a good lesson, for the guys who are able to represent Canada again. It's all about coming together as one. It's not about being the best team. If you look on paper, I don't think Finland was the best team. I would say, they probably, on paper, they shouldn't have won, but they're a great team, and that's the main thing. They were a team, and they ultimately won. So
You're off to a great start in your OHL season. I did notice, however, that after 3 games, you've got 2 minor penalties already. You were this
three.
Three minor penalties. You're in danger of not winning the Sportsmanlike Player Award.
Yeah. My dad said he didn't want the Sportsmanlike, so he threw it away early, I guess. But just kind of how it works. Actually, they came in all in one game, and it was just a couple of bad bounces. One was just getting a little angry with the guy, and well, it happens, I guess. But yeah, if the Sportsmanlike comes again, it comes again. But if not, it's whatever.
You've never had a fight in the OHL. What would it take to make Connor McDavid angry enough to drop his gloves?
I don't know. Actually, Joel Weigel just had a fight in a 7-1 game and broke his hand, and he's done for about 3 months. So that kind of made me say, maybe fighting's not my thing. But if someone took a good run at one of the younger guys, or was taking a good run at me, then maybe I have to take exception.
Your family's been very important to you. I know that. Your dad coached you through much of your minor hockey. What's the best lesson that he's ever imparted to you?
The best lesson he's probably ever taught me was, he always said that if you have a goal, make each and every day count towards that goal. And I try and do that. I mean, each and every day, it's about getting better and all that. And he did a great job instilling hard work in me and all that stuff. And I owe him everything.
Your mom, Kelly, I would describe her as not a hockey mom. I mean, I think she told me before that if you and your brother Cameron had decided to be skiers when you were 4 or 5 years old, she would have been just as happy. And that, what's your mom mean to you in terms of handling your career?
She's probably one of the most important people, to be honest. And although she wants to be a skiing family, she does just a great job of keeping the game very secondary. She just makes sure that all the mom stuff, I'm sleeping right, I'm eating well, taking care of myself, and I'm not getting sick and all that stuff. So, she does a great job.
You got a brother, Cameron. He's 4 years older than you. I know he's very proud of you, and you get along very well. But an older brother, it must have been some times where he's giving you the gears pretty good too.
Oh yeah. We always used to play a road hockey together, and for some reason it was always me getting hurt, and a couple stitches, a couple very close calls. Stick came right up here. Almost lost my eye, but it was he's great. I mean, you'd think there might be like a little bit of jealousy, with an older brother and his younger brother, gets more attention than him. It's not like that. He's a great older brother, and he's not doing too bad for himself either. He's an Ivy student in Western, and he's doing great things there. So
I know that Sidney Crosby's a very superstitious hockey player. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being Crosby-like superstitious, how superstitious are you?
Say probably an 8 or 9. I'm a pretty superstitious guy as well. A couple crazy ones that honestly, if I told you, you would think I was absolutely insane.
Let's hear one of
honestly,
the insane ones.
I have no idea. It's just
You get dressed a certain way every time, correct?
Of course, get dressed a certain way. One that I always get the gears for is my warm-up shoes. My warm-up shoes have a hole at the top, and my toes coming out the top, and the whole bottom is just torn right out. But I joke they're my like Mikes, because I wear them. I've worn them since I was a little guy. So.
What about I think some of your underwear that you wear too is.
Yeah. Actually, there was a pretty bad incident last year before one of the games. I have my lucky underwear, and they get pretty torn and ripped and all that stuff. And it was before a game, and Nick bets, just jokingly or whatever, and we got into a little bit of a wrestle before the game, and all of a sudden my boxers just ripped right in half. Couldn't wear them anymore, and I was pretty upset with them for a bit, but I had to find another lucky pair of boxers.
We joke about it, but do you ever worry that superstition becomes an impediment, that you're lucky underwear and you have a bad game because of it, that you become a slave to that superstition, and
Yeah.
it can have a negative impact?
Of course, yeah. You can oftentimes get lost in your superstitions and all that stuff, but I do a good job of keeping them pretty light, and they're not stupid stuff. They're kind of just more of a routine, I would say, and all that stuff. But you can get lost in them for sure.
How much preparation goes into getting your stick ready for a game?
Actually, I am probably the last guy to I don't spend any time on it at all. Most guys get there, and the first thing they do is they tape all 3 sticks. And taping my stick is actually the last thing I do. I do my warm-up, then I go get my sticks, and I actually just tape the one I'm going to use. I just tape that one. And my equipment manager always hates me for it because I'm always the last guy. He's always breathing down my neck to get my spares in on time and stuff. But he does a good job of understanding my kind of time period. So.
All right, thanks for doing this, Connor, and good luck this season.
Thanks a lot.